Good morning, everyone. I'm Balaji. I take care of the data analytics practice at Axis Bank. Over the next 10 minutes, I'll show you how data is driving distinctiveness as well as top and bottom line impact for the bank. Let me jump in. So this slide is a snapshot of the business impact data has in the bank. We had a version of this slide last year as well. Now you can see here the incremental impact that we are having in various business areas over the years. Some sound bites, personal loans, full 64% of the business that we do in the bank comes from database programs. The other thing I want to highlight, it's not just lending. TDs, Amitabh also referred to it, individual deposits. 16% of the TDs we book come from the personalized nudges we send. It's not just that someone went to a mobile app and did the TD. It is measured through we sent the nudge. There's a champion and there's a challenger. We didn't send the nudge, and through champion challenger we can demonstrate it. And this was a small number last year. Has increased significantly. This year didn't exist prior to that. The other example I want to highlight is commercial banking. It's a non-retail example where through market scoping exercise where we mine external market data, curate a list of prospects, filter them for credit conditions, credit filters, work with the RMs across the country, map the leads to them, track the rhythm, and convert them into business. And this is demonstrated conversion of those leads into business. We also use data for fraud prevention, 600 plus rules run, 100 plus variables used in real time to detect and prevent fraud. So I'll jump in. So in terms of distinctiveness, three key areas I want to emphasize while we are doing the bread and butter stuff for the business. Our job is to drive distinctiveness for the bank. Three key vectors of distinctiveness I like to highlight. One is personalization. Just double click on it in a little bit. Partnership is an important area for us. I'll show you how we are using data science to make data a competitive advantage for us in winning partnerships. I'll show you that. And modern data and tech, Avinash touched upon it. To do all of this requires a robust data engineering platform. In fact, the importance of engineering, importance of tech in banking increases, the importance of engineering in data science only keeps increasing. So a robust foundation is needed for us to do scalable stuff. So what does it take to build a best-in-class personalization platform? First one is data, and lots of it, organized well in one place. Second is the nudge library. Nudge libraries offers, Amitabh talked about it, 15,000 plus nudge variants over a period of time we have built up. How do you prioritize? You don't want to inundate the customer, the right nudge for the right customer. Bases all the data. That's why you have all the data. MarTech orchestration, we'll talk about it. I'll show you one or two slides very quickly where it's ultimately about omni-channel. All of these nudges and the same nudges should be available in any channel that we interact with the customer. And we have done that control tower. See, many people often miss this. A lot of people do campaigns, just throwing stuff out. Measuring and changing the campaign is super important. Something that you don't change, something that you don't drop, something that you don't modify means it's not working, period. So control tower is about how you modify and change in agile squads, how you have to organize the organization itself differently. It's not just about the same set of people doing the same thing. So we have worked with the best in class in personalization. We have talked to some of the companies internationally that have done that well. And over a period of, we introduced that last year when we spoke to you, and now it's a fairly large setup for us. 3,000 plus rich attributes for each of our 4 crore customers. I mean, imagine a large piece of data, 4 crore customers, 3,000 rich attributes. Did you have a RuPay card and did you spend on UPI versus on credit card versus you are not a UPI spender on credit card? And by the way, such customers spend more. Like that kind of a rich feature is available for every customer, and there are 3,000 like that. Nudge library, actually the snippet that I've shown you is from a MySQL table in our data lake. So every one of the nudges that we have, every single nudge that we have in the bank is configured in that one table. And a single piece of Spark code runs, whichever nudge we do, a single piece of Spark code runs, picks up from this configuration table and manufactures the nudge. Now, it doesn't mean the block number 6, it doesn't mean everybody has to come to that team to make the nudge. So we have created agile squads. The agile squads are empowered to configure their own nudge using that platform. And through a CI/CD process, Jenkins pipelines, that nudge moves into the stable, gets manufactured and sent out, and gets sent out. So it's a fairly scaled up setup that we have here. Significant business impact. We have done this across multiple areas, instant loans, term deposits, we talked about PL. Wherever we have done this, we have seen a significant lift in our campaign efficacy as well as vertical impact metrics for the business. This is something we'll continue to scale. And it's not the last example I want to point out. It's not just business, also service and things like re-KYC, and we are going to be using it for any customer communication that we want to have. So this is live, being pushed to customers via your typical SMS email. Also in-app, Samir would have talked about it, the just for you and recommended for you sections. The same nudge framework is powering those. We'll skip this given that you might have covered it. Siddhi, I saw Subrat talk about this. What the same nudge framework is powering Siddhi as well. And see, Siddhi is good for the RMs, but I'm also, as a data analytics person, I'm equally excited by Siddhi because just look at that stuff. Like the RM logs in the day, he sees his calendar, he clicks on the calendar, the next thing shows you all the customers he needs to see that day comes up. And you see the third screen, he clicks on it, the nudges come up for that customer. And then he clicks on it and he can act on the feedback. So for me as an analytics person, it's a great vehicle for me to drive the nudges to the RM. We're excited about the possibility it holds. The second distinctiveness is on how we enable database programs and partnership growth and lending. As you can see, we have significantly scaled. One of the primary products we offer to the bank and the business is qualifying our customers for cross-sell programs for existing customers. That number has grown, but more importantly, KTB customers, partnerships. We have made very significant progress since the last time we talked about it, or we began the journey in FY22, continuing to move the needle on incremental offers per customer as well. The business impact is there to see, and these are real numbers, vertical numbers, not resources control. Gold loan, again, another example, new example I want to highlight as an area where database programs are beginning to have a good impact on the business. So leveraging alternate data, there are a bunch of things we do. In the interest of time, I will run straight to one double-click example to give you a flavor. So what we do whenever a partnership comes up, and we believe this is something we do really well, and the partners like us for it, which is we work with a partner, we sit with them, we look at their data, we build models with them because we have many years, we have a decade plus experience of building risk models, and we bring that experience to the partner, we build those models using their data, and it's done in a very kosher way, DPDPA proof, because the customer PII is encrypted or tokenized, and then that same tokenization is done at their end, matched, and then you build the model. And you can see these are all from an example partnership model that went live, and you can see the risk sloping. And these are used by the partner. It runs in the data center every month, and it is used by them to market to these customers, and these customers apply to us, and we get the data when they apply with their consent, with the customer consent, and then we use it for further processing. The second example is account aggregator. So we have created an ML scorecard that consumes an account aggregator XML and spits out various features. Typically, banks would take income or AQB out of it. We have extended that. Our API also spits out a risk score, and that can be consumed by a partner, can be consumed internally to make decisions further. On data engineering stack, Avinash talked about it as well. There are, in the interest of time, I'm going to keep it brief. I'll move to the next section. See, there are 5 components required to make a strong data engineering stack. Data ingestion, 30 crore plus records. There are 10 crore transactions that happen every day. Each transaction requires multiple footprints. This is the scale at which we operate. And as you can see on the right-hand side, we use enterprise class tools, meaning scalability and flexibility for the business. Informatica is a tool that we use for data ingestion. Data quality and governance, we are one of the first to implement Informatica MDM in the country. MDM is a customer master data for managing multiple customer IDs from multiple systems in one place. We are one of the first to implement. In fact, two other banks, large banks, are now in the process of implementing the same. Time's up. Okay. I think we're almost on the last stage. I'll wrap up with this. So we continued, Amitabh mentioned, we continue to benchmark ourselves. We are not content with where we are. We did an exercise today with one of the, this year with one of the consultants, where we went and looked at, we did a questionnaire, we talked to people internally, we got their external inputs, and we believe in what we do. We are ahead of our private bank peers in the country. We are behind global best-in-class banks, and that's where we want to be. We have made some progress in the areas like personalization, alternate data, the metrics are there to see. We have also identified some areas where we need to focus on, and we will continue to invest in those areas, and will continue to stay ahead of the peers and be a source of distinctiveness for Axis Bank. Thank you. I'll wrap up with this. Sure.
Just on that slide, can you explain the methodology in which you rank yourself and other private banks?
Yeah.
Sorry, could you just explain the methodology on that chart so that we understand why is Axis better on some of those metrics?
Yeah. See, we showed the slide last year also. What we do is we do the periodic projects with consultants. Like for personalization, we had done it with one of the external consultants who had worked with multiple companies across the globe as well as in the country, and we asked them to rank us where we are. This year we worked with another consultant just to get a diverse viewpoint. They use a questionnaire approach where it's a standard questionnaire they address to every customer who wishes to benchmark themselves. And and that questionnaire has several sections on your data engineering, how you do it, your team strength, team composition, and basis those answers, they create a score, and basis that score, they create this rating.
We'll keep it to only 3 questions in the interest of time. Okay, Piran, go ahead. Second one. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, you're audible. Go. No, the mic is there. Just.
Yeah, hi. Sorry. Just for actually both of you, tech spends are 8-10% of your OPEX. Just wanted to understand how much of this is one-time-ish in nature and how much is recurring. Second question, and this is a bit theoretical, when you're working with a partner firm and you said you tokenize the customer details, I mean, they tokenize it. How do you know they're not fudging the data?
Go ahead and then.
So, see, the project costs basically go into capex investments largely. Okay, the opex investments today are some of it is on a recurring basis because you obviously have your AMCs and all of that. And nowadays the software applications tools themselves are on a subscription basis. Okay, I mean the old model in terms of the fact that okay you buy once and it's a perpetual kind of a license. I mean that is no longer there in the book. So while a lot of it, with this change in model, I mean the old equation in terms of the fact that whether it's one time or it is recurring, etc., has got a little more amorphous than what it used to be, right? Because what used to come in as a perpetuity is no longer available anymore. So we have, when we are basically working with a lot of these providers, I mean there is a recurring kind of a thing which essentially happens, which is actually a pay-as-you-use kind of a model that we are sort of seeing over there. If I have to sort of give you some kind of a ratio, I mean about 25-30% actually goes into AMCs as such, okay? And then you have another 20-30% which is actually going into some of the more recurring subscriptions and all of that, and then there are support and some of the other areas.
So let me answer that question for you more directly. It will remain sticky. It will remain at that number on a consistent basis, because depreciation converts capex into opex, and my number includes depreciation on tech spends. So when I say it's 8 to 9% of total operating expenses, it includes the depreciation line. So the cash flow may be different, but the 8 to 9 will be sticky and will stay.
See, on the question on the data privacy, somewhat straightforward. See, there are deterministic tokenization algorithm which we provide. So we tokenize our data. So the customer PII gets converted to another deterministic number. You run that same piece of code at the partner's end. That same mobile number, if they have, that gets converted to the same token, one-to-one, and if it matches, right? Otherwise, it's not the same customer. That's one. Second is, see, any model that is built is validated in the data room, obviously, that it does what it's supposed to do. Obviously, if the data is cooked up, it's not going to match, number one. Number two, on an ongoing basis as well. The models are continuously tracked for their performance. We do PSI, CSI, character, basically these are character stability index, population stability index, front-end validation, meaning we get the granular features from them and we score it at our end to see if the same scores are coming up. So there are a set of, you're right, models you can build, but there are a set of governance features. Again, I would say the 10 plus years of experience, that is something we have learned, and we have a fairly robust governance mechanism that helps us build as well as use models for decision. So building models is easy. Using them for decision making in a dependable manner is not, and that requires experience. In fact, when you work with partners, that's one of the reasons we rate ourselves. When you work with partners, we realize that they are excited to work with us on this front because they respect what we bring to the table there. I think someone over there had raised their hand first.
Okay, Param, go ahead.
Yeah. So first question on OneView. Now in terms of, can you speak about, the customer adoption that you're seeing over there and the opportunities it opens up in terms of analytics as well as cross-sell? That's firstly. And secondly, the RBI governor yesterday, he highlighted that, too much reliance on algorithm-based lending might not be a great thing. So what kind of risk mitigants are you building in, perhaps from a business perspective over there? Yeah.
See, I'll take the second point first. I completely agree. I'll be the first one to say that, algorithms have a job to do and we have a job to do, and both together gets a job done for the bank. Any model, so there is a model management life cycle. The model is developed. There is an independent validation unit within the data science team. So that team is independent. They check before the model goes out that this makes sense and the variables are right and we're not missing anything. Then there is a model governance team in our risk management team under Amit. You should catch up with him when he's there. That team then reviews and approves the model and declares whether they're fit for use or not. Post that the models go into production, we have a front-end, what we call front-end validation, meaning every model, every score, we compute it again in an analytical environment, we compare. Because that's something that happens often. Anyone who's used a model will know that when your model goes from a lab to production, a lot of things, gaps develop. So we score it in production, we score it in lab, we match score by score, feature by feature. If there is any gap, then we know we need to step in to fix it. And then over a longer period of time, 3 months, 6 months, you look at the model, how it is performing. Not just overall how the model is performing, but every single variable in the model. Is it rank ordering? Like one of the things that happened was variables reverse rank order. Like the famous example is from the US, right, where presence of mortgages was favorable. In India, it still is favorable. But then around 2007-8, it started reverse rank ordering. So you need to check every variable, whether it's moving in the same direction that you expected it to be. And then when you observe something, you need to pull back. And second thing I said, we don't take models from fintechs. We gave models to them, and they appreciate the depth of experience we bring when we go and do those model building exercises. On the first one, see, customer OneView right now, it is something that is meant for the customer's convenience to see all their, I think you're referring to the Sameer's thing on, yes. It's meant for them to look at all the statements in one place. Now, yeah, over a period of time, that is something we will use in how we market relevant offers to the customers as well.